Well, thank you very much, Chairman Alexander. And before I begin, I do want to address the pivotal moment that we are in on health care. This committee has had a productive bipartisan conversation about really concrete ways to stabilize the market and prevent families from paying higher premiums next year, and it's imminent upon us. So when it comes to policy, I think it's very clear there's a lot more that we agree on and disagree on. I feel optimistic if we can focus on that common goal and come to our final differences and deliver a result, it will be the right thing for the country. And I just wanted to say that at the top. With that, I do want to thank you again, Chairman Alexander, for this hearing. I want to thank all of our nominees today and their families who are here. And Dr. Gade, I want to thank you for your service to our country as well. I am pleased that we're going to be able to hear from all three of you today on your visions for these critically important roles at the Department of Education and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You all are being nominated to these positions at a really pivotal moment, and I am concerned that since taking office, the President has rolled back protections for workers and students and promoted policies that do make it harder for working families to get ahead. So I'm hoping to hear from each of you today that you don't intend just to be a rubber stamp for the President's policies and agenda. Mr. Nominees, I'm sure you will recall the millions of parents and students and teachers who stood up after Secretary DeVos's nomination and our confirmation hearing to raise their concerns about her lack of knowledge about education and oppose her anti-public school agenda. It is clear to me since day one she has rolled back protections for students and borrowers, making it easier for predatory for-profit colleges to take advantage of students. She has promoted her privatization agenda, and her record on upholding civil rights protection for students has been abysmal. She scaled back the Office of Civil Rights, signaled to schools they can once again discriminate against transgender students, and is considering revoking guidance that directs schools on how to investigate claims of sexual campus assault. The Department of Education's primary responsibility is to stand up for our students. So I have to say I'm disappointed by those actions because I think our children are the most important investment we make, and the protections they have are critically important. And we should be working together to make sure every student can get a good public school in their own neighborhood, and those who want to attend college are able to afford it and to climb that ladder of opportunity without a mountain of debt. And we need to make sure that those in the workforce are being paid what they deserve, working in safe environments and free from discrimination at work. I am concerned that we have watched as President Trump undermined worker protections, and it made it easier for corporations to take advantage of workers today. And he has, as we all know, repeatedly disparaged and discriminated against millions of people across this country. His actions, though not surprising after his behavior on the campaign trail, do go against everything the EEOC stands for. That is a critical, independent agency that is responsible for protecting workers from discrimination. So Ms. Dillon and Dr. Gade, I hope you are prepared to demonstrate that you do not share all of the President's views on race and civil rights and women and immigrants and people with disabilities or the LGBT community, and that you are willing to stand up to him when it's necessary. So I want to discuss some of my initial concerns I'm hoping that the three of you can address today. Mr. Nominees, Secretary DeVos' clear lack of understanding on education issues and current law makes it clear to me that she does need an independent general counsel who will stand up to her if laws are being broken or ethics rules are being bent. You have worked for individuals and companies that seem to care more about big businesses and for-profit colleges, sometimes at the expense of families and students. You indicated in our meeting that you admired Secretary DeVos, but I hope you plan today to lay out your commitment to remaining independent at the Department of Education and not just blindly implement whatever is handed to you. Ms. Dillon, the chair of the EEOC, influences the agenda and decisions of the EEOC. You spent your career, as we know, fighting on the side of big businesses, advocating for rules that often undermine worker protections. So I really hope today that you can speak a little bit about how you stand with workers and not just be another voice for those at the top. Dr. Gade, in news reports yesterday, you confirmed that in 2011 you made disparaging quotes about women in combat roles, saying, and I quote, The idea of women in that environment is laughable. Though you said your position has changed, these comments, as you can imagine, are pretty troubling and suggest a lack of judgment and respect for women. Along with your lack of experience in employment law is really concerning to me. So I hope to hear from you today on that. This is a critical agency, you know that helps our workers by enforcing their civil rights. So I'm very interested on where you stand on major issues, including the wage gap that's important to workers, sexual orientation and gender identity discrimination, wellness rules, and cases involving systemic discrimination. Because we all know today that a lot of families are really struggling, and we need to be doing everything we can to help them get ahead. Whether they choose to do that through higher education or working hard at a good-paying job, we need to help families join that middle class. So that's what I'm interested in hearing from today. I look forward to all of your testimony and answers to the questions.